Have you ever started something with fire in your heart, only to watch that flame die before you even took the first real step? Maybe you bought a gym membership you never used, or started learning a language that now sits forgotten in an app on your phone? Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a woman who lost everything because she confused intention with action, and how one moment of truth changed her life forever. This is not just a story, this is a mirror, and if you're brave enough to look into it, you might see yourself. You might see the version of you that plans, that dreams, that prepares, but never begins. The version that waits for the perfect moment. The version that collects knowledge but never applies it. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll understand why some people rise while others remain stuck in the same place year after year. In a bustling city where everyone seemed to be rushing towards something, there lived a woman named Maya. She was 32 years old, intelligent, educated, and full of ideas. She worked a regular office job, the kind that paid the bills but left her soul feeling empty. Every morning, Maya woke up with the same thought. There has to be more than this. She spent hours scrolling through social media, watching people her age launching businesses, traveling the world, writing books, creating art, and every time she saw someone succeeding, something stirred inside her. She would think, I could do that too. I have ideas. I have dreams. And she did have dreams. So many dreams. One week, Maya decided she would start a YouTube channel. She spent 3 days researching cameras, lighting, editing software. She made lists. She watched tutorials. She even designed a logo. But she never recorded a single video. The next month, she wanted to write a novel. She bought notebooks, downloaded writing apps, joined online writing groups. She talked about her story idea with her friends. They loved it. They encouraged her. She felt like an author already, but she never wrote a single chapter. Then, she decided to learn graphic design. She enrolled in an online course. She paid money. She bookmarked resources. She created a folder on her desktop labeled Design Projects. But she never completed a single lesson. This pattern repeated itself over and over. New dream, new excitement, new preparation, but no action, no result, no change. Maya's apartment became a graveyard of abandoned dreams, unused yoga mats, dusty guitar, stacks of self-help books with only the first chapter read, half-empty journals, business plans that never left the page. Deep down, Maya felt something she didn't want to admit. She felt like a fraud. She felt the weight of potential that was never realized, the shame of knowing she was capable of more but never proving it. The exhaustion of starting and stopping, over and over again. One evening, she sat on her couch staring at her phone. Another person she went to school with had just launched a successful online business. Another old classmate had published a book. Another friend had quit their job to pursue their passion. And Maya? She was still in the same place, same job, same routine, same unfulfilled promises to herself. She felt her chest tighten. Her eyes burned. She whispered to herself, "What is wrong with me? Why can't I finish anything? Why can't I just do something?" Now pause for a moment. Before we continue, I want you to ask yourself something. Have you ever felt what Maya is feeling right now? That frustration of knowing you're capable but somehow never crossing the finish line. If yes, keep watching. Because what happens next will change everything. Maya's frustration grew into something darker. She stopped sharing her ideas with people. Not because she learned to protect them, but because she was embarrassed. She didn't want anyone to ask, "Hey, what happened to that YouTube channel?" or "Did you ever finish that book?" She began to avoid her own reflection, not physically, but emotionally. She distracted herself with Netflix, with scrolling, with anything that would make her forget the gap between who she was and who she wanted to be. One Saturday morning, Maya's younger cousin Priya came to visit. Priya was only 24, fresh out of college, full of energy. Over coffee, Priya excitedly talked about a small online tutoring service she had started 3 months ago. "It's nothing big yet," Priya said, her eyes shining. "But I have 15 students now. I'm making enough to cover my rent, and honestly, Maya, I've never felt more alive." Maya forced a smile. "That's amazing, Priya. I'm so proud of you." But inside, she felt a sharp pain. Not jealousy exactly, but something worse, regret. Because she remembered 3 years ago when she had the exact same idea. She had researched it, planned it, even created a pricing sheet, but she never launched it. Priya noticed Maya's expression shift. "Maya, how did you do it? How did you actually start?" Priya looked confused. What do you mean? I just started. I made a simple flyer. I posted it online. I got my first student, then another. I wasn't ready. I didn't have everything figured out, but I just began. But what if you failed? What if no one signed up? What if you weren't good enough? Priya paused. Then she said something that hit Maya like a lightning bolt. Maya, I was terrified. I still am sometimes. But I realized something. Failing at something is better than failing at nothing. At least when you try and fail, you learn, you grow, you become someone different. But when you don't try at all, you just stay the same forever. Those words echoed in her mind long after Priya left. Failing at something is better than failing at nothing. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, tears rolling down her cheeks. She felt like she had wasted years of her life. Not because she failed, but because she never even tried. Let me ask you something. How many dreams have died, not because you tried and failed, but because you never gave them a chance to breathe? How many versions of your future self are you killing by staying comfortable? Stay with me, because the transformation is about to begin. The next morning, something inside Maya shifted. She woke up not with motivation, but with a quiet resolve. She didn't feel excited. She felt determined. There's a difference. Motivation is loud. It's emotional. It's temporary. Determination is quiet. It's steady. It survives the hard days. Maya made a decision. She would stop preparing, stop planning, stop waiting for the perfect moment. She would choose one thing, the simplest thing, and she would do it. Not perfectly, not impressively. Just done. She opened her laptop. She looked at all her abandoned projects: YouTube channel, novel, graphic design, online tutoring, fitness journey, language learning. Too many choices. That was part of the problem. She had been drowning in possibilities, so she chose the easiest one, the one that required the least preparation. She chose to write. Not a novel, not a book, just one short article, 500 words, about something she actually knew, something real. She opened a blank document. Her hands hovered over the keyboard. Fear whispered in her ear. What if it's bad? What if no one cares? What if you embarrass yourself? But then she remembered Priya's words. Failing at something is better than failing at nothing. She didn't edit. She didn't overthink. She just wrote 500 words about her struggle with starting things and never finishing them. Raw, honest, imperfect. When she finished, she read it back. It wasn't great, but it was real. And most importantly, it was done. She published it on Medium, a free blogging platform. Her hands shook as she hit the publish button. She closed her laptop quickly, afraid to look at it again. The next day, something unexpected happened. 3 people read her article, then 10, then 50. By the end of the week, 200 people had read it, and 5 people left comments. One comment said, I felt like you were reading my mind. Thank you for sharing this. Another said, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Maya stared at those comments. She felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not pride, not validation, but proof. Proof that action, even imperfect action, creates something real. She wrote another article the next week, then another. They weren't viral, they weren't perfect, but they were done. And slowly, something began to change. Not her life, not yet, but something deeper, her identity. She was no longer someone who wanted to write. She was someone who wrote. There's a massive difference. Here's the truth most people never realize. You don't build confidence by thinking about doing things. You build confidence by doing things badly at first and then getting better. Every single person you admire started as a beginner, every single one. The only difference between them and you is that they were willing to suck at something long enough to get good at it. 6 months passed. Maya had published 25 articles. Some got 100 views, some got 5. It didn't matter. She kept going. Then one day she received a message. A small online magazine wanted to pay her to write an article for them. $50. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was proof that her skill had value. She wrote the article. They published it. They asked for another, then another. Within a year, Maya had built a small portfolio. She started getting freelance clients. She wasn't rich. She hadn't quit her job yet. But something had fundamentally changed. She was no longer stuck. One evening, Maya sat in a coffee shop working on an article. Priya walked in and saw her. She sat down, grinning. Maya, I saw your latest article. It's incredible. You're really doing it. Maya smiled. I'm trying. Priya looked at her seriously. What changed? Last year you were so stuck. Now look at you. Maya thought for a moment. Then she said something that surprised even herself. I stopped waiting to feel ready. I realized that the perfect moment doesn't exist. The perfect plan doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is now. And the only thing that matters is whether you take the first step, even if it's messy, Priya nodded. That's powerful, Maya continued. I used to think that successful people had something I didn't have. Talent, confidence, luck. But now I see the truth. They just started before they were ready. They failed in private. They sucked at things until they didn't. And they kept going when it would have been easier to quit, let me tell you something that might hurt to hear, but you need to hear it. You are not stuck because you lack ability. You are stuck because you lack action. And action doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. Just enough courage to take one step, then another, then another. 2 years later, Maya quit her office job. Not because she became an overnight success, but because she had built something real through consistent, imperfect action. She now made a living as a freelance writer. Some months were great, some months were hard. But she was free. Free from the prison of unfulfilled potential. Free from the shame of never trying. One day, she received an email from a young woman named Sarah. Sarah had read one of Maya's early articles, the one about struggling to start. The email said, "Your article changed my life. I've been stuck for 5 years, but after reading your words, I finally started. I launched my small business last month. It's messy, it's imperfect, but it's real. Thank you for showing me that it's okay to begin badly." Times. Tears filled her eyes, not because she had helped someone, but because she realized something profound. Her pain had purpose. Her struggle had meaning. The years she spent stuck weren't wasted, because now they served as a bridge for others to cross. She replied to Sarah, "You did the hardest part. You started. Now just keep going. It won't always be easy, but I promise you it will always be worth it. So let me ask you one last time. What dream is dying inside you right now because you're waiting for the perfect moment? What version of yourself are you delaying because you don't feel ready? Here's what I need you to understand. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not crossed by planning. It's not crossed by hoping. It's not crossed by waiting. It's crossed by doing, by starting, by failing, by learning, by trying again. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need endless preparation. You don't need more time. You need 1 hour, one decision, one imperfect first step. Because here's the truth that no one tells you. The people who succeed are not more talented than you. They're not smarter. They're not luckier. They just started before they were ready. And they refused to stop. So right now, before you close this video, I want you to make a promise to yourself, not to me, to yourself. Choose one thing, the smallest thing, something you can do today, not tomorrow. Not next week. Today, write 1 paragraph, record 1 video, send 1 email, make 1 phone call, take 1 step, and then tomorrow take another step, and the day after, another. Because a year from now, you will either be exactly where you are today, or you will be someone who did the thing they were afraid to do. The choice is yours, but you have to choose now. If this story hit you in the chest, if you felt something shift inside you, do 2 things. First, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's stuck, someone who's waiting, someone who needs a push. Second, leave a comment below and tell me, what is the one thing you're going to start today, not tomorrow, today. Write it down, make it real. Because when you declare it, you take the first step toward becoming it. Subscribe to this channel if you want more stories that don't just inspire you, but transform you. Stories that force you to look in the mirror and choose who you're going to be. Thank you for being here. Now go. Start. Become.